The past couple of months in gaming has been an absolute trash fire. We've seen everything happen in the worst possible way. Hell, even back in my day, game consoles used to reduce in price. Now it's the opposite. The longer you wait to buy a new system or enjoy a new piece of tech, the more expensive it actually becomes, making zero sense whatsoever. Remember the good old days? The $49 GameCube? Yeah, I remember. But you see, the problem isn't just that game consoles are going up in price. No, the issue is going to be even deeper. Companies are seeing that they can in fact get away with charging exorbitant prices for their consoles and systems. Ever since PlayStation announced that their PS5 Pro will be increasing in price to $900 on April 2nd, the day after April Fool's Day, everyone on Twitter, or the majority of my timeline, was in fact people running out as quickly as possible to buy a PS5 Pro before that price hike was put into effect. Basically, Sony said jump, and everybody else just screamed, "How high, daddy? How high?" And that's the real terrifying part about all of this. People, in fact, went ahead and they still bought the system, even after it already had a price hike from $699 to $750. And that really goes to show that what these companies are doing is trying to manipulate you and getting you comfortable into spending all that extra money, even though they clearly don't deserve it. And they don't do anything for them to even earn that money that they want you to pay in the first place. You see, by now in a console generation, even if a price hike did happen, we shouldn't be at this level right now. The base PS5 should be $299. That's about what normally happens. The PS5 Pro should be $499, about a $200 difference. And even in this hypothetical scenario, if those prices were coming down throughout that entire time, like we normally get to see with other generations before, we would have been sitting at a PS5 Pro at $650, and then a regular PS5 at $450, and still below what we would have been paying even right now if companies weren't trying to squeeze out every dollar out of you with selling you a product and every other service in between. But the thing is, it's not about what ifs, it's about what's happening right now. And the scariest part about all of this is these companies saw how high those people were jumping. PlayStation, Xbox, and even Nintendo saw what people were doing to panic buy other products, literally voting with their wallets and telling them, yeah, you can increase the price, but I'd rather buy it right now. And that is exactly the wrong signal to send to these corporations, because apparently now, with next generation around the corner, it looks like things are going to get worse before they even get close to getting better. With Dexerto on Twitter saying this: next-gen PlayStation and Xbox consoles could cost almost $1,000, with console gaming becoming, quote, a luxury expenditure, according to analysts. I'm sorry, anyone saying the words gaming is a luxury hobby has never played video games. There has always been a very cost-effective way of being able to play video games. Even in the 80s and 90s, we had Blockbuster. You could rent your games for just $5 for that weekend and play those games and beat them and then return them as well. You weren't having to spend the $80 or $90 back in that money to go through and buy your video games at all. You could still play games throughout your entire lifespan, enjoying the hobby as well and saving a buck or two. This entire idea of like, oh, it's a luxury product, you've got to spend the money if you want to enjoy it. No, sorry, that's not how this kind of thing works. Anyone saying that to you right now is in fact 100% a corporate bootlicking simp. Period, point blank, end of story. Regardless of whatever corporation they want to suck off after, gaming is not a luxury hobby. And the thing is this, the PS5 Pro is $900 right now. And I don't see PlayStation going back and reducing that price ever again, seeing as how they haven't reduced the price of any of their consoles the entire generation. And that's exactly what I'm incredibly worried about. But the thing is though, there's more to the article by Games Radar, so let's go from there. with the article saying this, quote, "It looks like Sony baked in potential future fluctuations and decided to go for one substantial increase in early 2026, instead of raising prices more frequently and over a longer period of time," Dr. Serkan Toto, CEO of consultancy firm Kantan Games, tells GamesRadar Plus. This strategy also gives them some leeway to lower prices and offer deals if things surprisingly get better. We're on the cusp of hearing about the latest machines in the Xbox and PlayStation lineage, and it does seem like this is a harbinger for what they'll cost consumers at launch. Quote, "I think $999, at least for one variant of the PS6, is not impossible," Toto states. Meanwhile, Van Drunen agrees that, quote, "We're quickly moving towards a world in which a $1,000 console will be the norm and console gaming will become a luxury expenditure." He continues, "They really don't want to raise prices on their hardware because that part is usually a heavily subsidized part of the equation, and the sale of games is the gravity point for their revenue model. I predict the next generation of console hardware will start at a 50% higher price point than the current one did." Already we are off to a rocky start. Too many analysts are already pointing out the definite possibility of a $1,000 console. Now, me personally, like I said before, I don't see PlayStation going around and charging the PS6 less than what the PS5 Pro is right now. On the other hand, though, you could definitely see something like this occurring, like what we saw before. If we're seeing a 50% price increase from previous gen to the next gen, then you could see the PS6 as well hit $700 or $750 as its starting price point, and then the Pro moving up to that $999 or even $900 price point for the PS6 when that inevitably comes out as well. This is not a good sign whatsoever, and even the analysts pointing this out and saying, hey look, this is what we're going to be expecting, is not going to be good for anybody overall. And here's the bigger problem that nobody's truly discussing, especially with calling gaming a luxury hobby, which clearly it isn't supposed to be. If next generation is in fact the base floor being increased by 50% of what we saw previous gen, then we're going to be seeing a lot of people either simply just stop playing video games or not upgrade at all, basically putting a ball and chain around next generation. People were complaining about the Series S holding back the generation or the PS4 doing it. Well, you're going to be seeing the exact same thing happen again. Game developers want to push their games out, and publishers want to sell their games to as many people as possible. If the amount of people that can purchase a video game is in fact shrinking exponentially because of higher pricing of hardware, then what's going to happen is a couple of things. Either publishers will put their game across other massive amounts of storefronts like Steam, Epic, Xbox, PlayStation, and even Nintendo, and removing exclusivity altogether, or they'll go ahead and increase the price of games exponentially. People wanted the $100 video game with GTA 6. Well, honey, you've got a big storm coming. Because if what happens right now is game companies are going to be probably doing both of those things. And even then, there may even be a third option that nobody is in fact excited about. And clearly, people won't have a choice for it. The article continues by saying this: Matt Piscatella believes both the timing and pricing of something like a PS6 must be considered to be in flux, noting that there is just far too much volatility and uncertainty. He continues, could we see $1,000 pricing? Sure, that's possible. Would really hate to see that, but it's possible. Could it be 2027? Maybe. Could it be 2028? Sure. Later? Why not? I do not think that the current market conditions allow for much certainty at all in the hardware market. Hopefully the conditions improve. They could get worse. Who knows? And that is exactly what everybody's in fact worried about. No one truly knows what's going to be happening. But one thing is for certain, everybody can see that companies need to make the line go up. Perpetually, forever, the line has to go up in some way. They'll charge you more money for their systems, charge you more money for their online services, charge you more for your games, and then put their games across multiple platforms because not enough people can actually afford to buy those games at all. And if you want to talk about predictions, here in fact is mine. Remember that third option that we talked about a few minutes ago? Yeah, this is it. game companies will in fact increase the price of their systems, of their games, of their consoles, of their hardware exponentially to increase the floor and push out the people that don't want to pay the money. We're seeing it happen live in real time. People already bracing for a $1,000 console, already bracing for a $100 video game. And every company is watching, every Twitter moron, every idiot online saying that they're excited about exclusivity on their console, not realizing they're in fact going to be paying for that exclusivity. They're literally going to go ahead and force the unwashed masses, those that don't have enough capital to go through and buy everything directly to their home, they're going to push them into streaming services. PlayStation already has PlayStation Now, where you can go ahead and stream all of your games over the cloud from that monthly active service and count those monthly active users and then raise the price of that service every single time. Xbox already has xCloud and they also have Game Pass as well. Can't afford the $1,200 or $1,000 Xbox Helix to play your games? Don't worry, here's our online streaming platform for you, no matter the cost, ready to go at any time. By the way, we doubled the price. Hope you enjoy. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to push everybody out and poison the entire well, yet turn right back around and act like they're a hero while giving you the cure. And the cure is basically owning nothing at all. Remember, it's going to be hitting everybody because not only does PlayStation and Xbox have this kind of service, Nvidia has it with GeForce Now. And GeForce Now has had its own issues as well, literally charging people per minute and hour while they're using that service to play their video games. We're going back in time into the 90s and early 2000s, where you had to pay per minute to use America Online, where you had to pay 10 cents for every text message that you actually sent. And then you were charged per minute of every phone call that you've ever made, literally nickel and diming you across the board, impacting not only the people that pay the most in the actual gaming space, but also people that can't afford to pay anything at all in gaming either, basically pushing them out of the entire hobby. But the thing is, though, the scam, in fact, does get worse. Not only is the potential of the PlayStation 6 at the possibility of being $1,000 and also the next Xbox as well, it looks like there was some more information coming around that you're going to be paying more and even getting less. According to Insider Gaming, the PlayStation 6 might feature a 1 terabyte SSD and no disk drive, it's claimed. With the article saying this, the latest details about the PlayStation 6 SSD specifications came from a known insider, Kepler L2's comments on NeoGAF via WCCF Tech. The leaker first spoke about the price of the next console. According to his current bill of materials, the BOM estimate, a PS6 unit costs $760, which can be reduced to $699 with a reasonable subsidy, the leaker stated. However, it is unknown whether Sony would opt for that, as Xbox is, quote, not direct competition anymore. First of all, you gotta love this right off the bat. PlayStation does something bad, blame it on Xbox. Every single time. PlayStation's not putting out any tentpole titles, it's Xbox's fault for not being competition. Look, I'm sorry, I don't buy this. PlayStation was going to increase the cost of their systems regardless of whether or not Xbox was competition or not. And heaven help everyone if PlayStation has the actual hubris to believe that someone is not competition, because clearly they're in fact very terrified of what's coming around the corner with Valve and Steam. Oh, that's right. We're tying it right back to that. The rumors of them pulling PC ports is not because of Xbox, it's because of Valve's Steam machine. And that would be a direct competitor in that actual space, regardless of what any fanboy online tries to tell you. What we're seeing right now are totally different things happening. People talking about the actual bill of materials being $760. But the problem is, a lot of companies are no longer willing to subsidize their hardware. What they're wanting to do now is make a profit off of their hardware. So I could see the PS6 being $799, being above what the actual bill of materials in fact is. Hell, maybe even $900 like the PS5 Pro. But the thing is, though, there's even more to this leak, so let's check it out and go from there. with the article by Insider Gaming saying this: when asked whether the bill of materials was based on a 1TB or 2TB SSD, Kepler responded, 1TB Gen 5 SSD and no disk drive. The insider elaborated that this was, quote, the most obvious area to cut costs. He added that if the upcoming console's SDK supports neural texture compression, game sizes could be even smaller than a PS5, which would be a great feature if the console storage capacity remains the same as the previous generation. Oh, isn't this great? This is exactly what we're seeing right now. Every company is giving you less while charging you more. A 1TB SSD and no disk drive, which you can absolutely guarantee they're going to sell you that disk drive separately for about maybe even $100. Also, don't forget PlayStation also added DRM to their PS5 Pro disk drive when they first launched that and got a backlash for it and had to remove it. Yeah, that was a fun time with that too. This is going to be an absolutely absurd thing, and I really think what's going to be happening is you're going to be seeing a lot of people look away from console gaming and move to something else, and I'm talking about moving to PC. People can definitely look at a $1,000 price tag, a $900 price tag, and say, a couple more $100, I might as well just get a PC as well. No paying for online, no dealing with the garbage from PlayStation, and the exclusives don't even really matter that much anymore since the majority of them are already on Steam in the first place. And on top of that, Steam. Yes, we're going to be talking about that too, because if we're looking at something like the Steam Machine coming out, and if it hits the price point of $750 or dare I even say $699, hell, it'd be a miracle if it hit $599 that you could truly see a real competitor in that space. This could be the perfect opportunity for Valve to go and push into the market and say, look, we're cheaper, we've got a good product, and we have the actual capacity to handle a lot of people moving onto our platform and spreading Linux and Steam OS, which is exactly why this machine was invented in the first place. So PlayStation could go ahead and be entirely happy with selling a lot less units of their next PS6 or even their PS5 Pro because of the insane price tag, because they'll be doing everything they can to milk out the actual customer, when in reality, the entire gaming industry may in fact look differently at Valve instead. Are they going to go ahead and say, you know what, I can't afford an actual PlayStation 6 or Xbox Helix, so I'll just do their online service? Or will they look to Steam and say, you know what, $600-700, I get everything on PC, and I get to deal with Valve instead of dealing with PlayStation or Xbox? Sign me up. A lot of people may look at that instead, or hell, even build their own PC in the actual wake of the entire thing, even though they're going to be spending more money up front, but not so much in the long run. But the thing is, though, it looks like Valve may in fact be doing the one thing everybody always makes fun of them for: doing nothing and even winning. According to skins.com, Valve's Steam Machine price could be saved thanks to the collapsing RAM prices. Now, if you didn't catch yesterday's video, definitely go back and check it out. You can watch it basically right here. It looks like Micron and so many other RAM manufacturers are in fact having their prices collapse because of basically Google just increasing the efficiency of what AIs need with an algorithm. And this could impact the Steam Machine in a positive way, since the actual price of the PC was not announced and in fact delayed and pushed back due to the RAM crisis by Valve's own words. It could be that PlayStation and so many others have in fact jumped the gun and were not able to get the actual RAM that they thought they were going to be able to hold on to, and decided to raise prices too early because the very next day everything began to collapse, and it could be collapsing even further if this trend continues, putting Valve in a possible win scenario. While every other company is trying to push higher into costs and purchases, Valve may in fact turn around and say, look, it may not be as powerful as your PS6, it may not be as powerful as your PS5 Pro, but it can damn sure as shit play a hell of a lot of games, be a lot cheaper than what you're paying for right now, and not pay for online, and deal with Valve instead of dealing with PlayStation or even Xbox in the first place. We could be seeing a monumental do nothing and win scenario, or we could be seeing the Steam Machine still be impacted by the RAM crisis and launching for about $750, which is my guess of where it will actually launch at. But I think the bigger issue isn't just the fact that we might be seeing $1,000 consoles. I think the bigger problem is a lot of people are literally signaling and showing companies they're not going to spend that money, no matter how bad they try to press it on them. With Ray the Snivy saying this, Nintendo and PC it is. With Michael saying if the Steam machine is able to release at a reasonable price, the consoles are cooked. With Arrow saying, yeah, I'm going to be moving to PC for third-party games after this gen. Yes, it's more expensive, but to be honest, if you pay the $80 a year for PlayStation Online for the entire gen, 6 or 7 years, plus the $1,000 console, you're not going to be much far off from PC prices in the long term anyway, LOL. Plus, you can always freely upgrade your components with PC to keep improving it if you desire to have your build last longer than one console generation. With Bardo closing it off saying this, the main appeal of consoles is that they were gaming/home media specific machines, and therefore a cheaper gateway into gaming than multi-purpose PCs. What appeal aside from convenience will they have after this? And you know what, to be honest, I feel the argument of it's more convenient on consoles is vastly overrated and in fact overblown. It's people believing that they're still back in the early 2000s when games didn't have to install onto your console, have multiple patches, have multiple different modes, performance ray tracing, quality mode, quality ray tracing, and everything else in between. People spend more time in settings on consoles than they do in PCs, and clearly people really are just not understanding what's in fact happening to the gaming space as well. Exclusive games aside, the entire point of the console was to have that cheap entry point so that way you could sell all the software to that user and then make all the money back on those sales. Now it's the opposite effect. Now we're going to be seeing potentially $1,000 systems. And at that point, if you're spending $1,000, if you're spending $900, hell, if you were spending $700 on a PS5 Pro, you could have gotten yourself a PC in that actual ballpark and been better off, not paying for online like we saw earlier, not having to deal with horrible return policies, and basically getting almost every single game from practically every generation with emulation all in one single space. And this is the part that I think a lot of game companies are not realizing what is in fact going to be happening. Pushing the consumer too far into one direction of trying to charge them more money is not going to help overall. It's simply going to raise the floor. But like I said before, their entire plan is not to push you out of gaming. It's to push you into a live service structured model. And Valve could literally swoop in and pick up all those people that every other game company is trying to let go and drop and literally become even more successful than they already are, if they were able to get the price at the proper point. And a lot of the games that people enjoy can play on a Linux-based OS, and SteamOS takes off in the proper direction. You could be seeing a true competitor, not only in the gaming space, but clearly go head to head with everybody else and prove you don't have to be the most expensive to provide the best quality games or even the best outcome for the user. But you know what? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section down below. Do you think next gen is going to be at minimum $1,000? Do you think it could start at $700 and then move up from there? Or are we all just effectively cooked? But as always, I want to hear what you guys got to say. And speaking about what you got to say, here in fact is the comment of the day from yesterday's video. With Mr. Tiny 007 saying this, after bubble bursts, everyone just gets Steam machines only. Hell, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Even before the bubble bursts, I'm going to try and snag a Steam machine, do a lot of tutorial stuff, and help people learn more about Linux as well with SteamOS. I even have a 7700X CPU and a 7900 XT. My PC completely blows the doors off of any console and even a Steam machine right now. And I still feel the Steam machine is going to be the way to move forward if you want to simply game and not have to worry about any of the actual bullshit that's happening in the industry. But with all that being said, if you want more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming hot takes, more gaming news, Steam Deck videos, and fanboy content, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by TTS. It's a hell of a show. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!